I'm Tessa with the Nerds of Color, and thank you all for breaking me. That was lovely. You know who, and I'm not going to say who because it's a spoiler, but you destroyed me. Anyways, fantastic season. And I want to know for you guys, what does it mean that this means so much to so many people and they get so invested, like where they sob like I do?
Oh,
I mean,
It's nice to be seen, I suppose. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
it's a story that means so much to all of us from where it started, and now crafting it to be able to share it with an even wider audience than just those who came with us the first time around, and having the opportunity to kind of craft it to its finest point, in this animated adaptation is as much of it's a challenge, it's also just a great joy. And to inflict these emotions upon you all that we inflicted upon ourselves it's just bonds us through shared trauma.
Does anybody else have anything to add?
it's so magical to get to experience this all over again. And the fact that audiences are resonating with it uh, is hopefully means we get to keep doing it, you know?
Absolutely. I will say I've started watching the campaign, but I'm stopping myself ahead of seeing what's to come because I don't want to be spoiled. You know what I mean?
Hard.
But it's hard. But then I find myself watching the show being like, I cannot wait to see how this played out. So I want to talk to you guys about that, like give and take, because I know it's pretty accurate for the most part. But what is it like kind of adapting what happened in actual gameplay into the series?
Sam, if you want to take it.
Yeah, that's the most challenging part of this is every part of campaign one was our favorite part. And so finding what bits to skip or condense is super hard to do, but we know it has to be done, and we just collaborate. Everybody talks to everybody. We have big group writing sessions. The whole cast participates, and eventually we figure out what matters most to us and what we think critters would riot if we missed. And then hopefully there's some pages left over for us to invent some new stuff that will keep people on their toes and surprised as we go. But yeah, our number one priority is to be true to the feeling of going through the first campaign, and at least the feeling of Matt's world. I know that we mess up stuff in your world sometimes, Matt, but in general, like the general vibe stays right.
You guys all do pretty good, but that's only because I send you extended notes whenever you do mess it up.
Exactly. I love it. Well, I want to talk to you all about working with Lance Reddick as well, because I really loved first hearing his voice after he had passed is jarring. It's very, that made me cry. And then the little note for him after the first one. So can you all just talk about what it means to you guys that, I mean, part of his legacy is Vox Machina.
Yeah, I talked to his wife after his passing, and I asked her, um, is it okay to keep him in the show because he had recorded, or would you rather us, remove him or replace him or something? And she was like, no, absolutely not. He loved doing this show, and I want his voice to be in there. And she was very gracious, and I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to work with him briefly and be a small part of his gigantic career.
I've I think I mentioned this before to some of you, but like, yeah, I was such a big fan of his for so long. Ever since I first watched The Wire the first time, I mean, I watched it like 5 times, I think. And amongst all the other roles that he's played throughout his expansive career, and so when we had the opportunity to even just see if he wanted to play Thordak in this series, I was excited. And then when he accepted the role, I was even more excited. And then when he actually played the role, I was like, oh my God, he brings such like a gravitas, and like he can go bombastic and huge as a dragon, but also he could bring that extremely calculated, cold, like quiet strength and threat. God, he was so talented, and I'm very grateful that right before he passed, I had the chance to meet him in person and tell him how much it meant to me. And so it was very, very sad when he passed, but we're all very grateful that we had the chance to work with him and weave him into the history of Exandria.
Mhm. Laura or Taliesin, you have anything to add about him?
He was just unbelievably talented and brought so much to the show.
Mhm.
Devastated that we don't continue to get to work with him, but very, very thankful for what we did get to do.
It is the voice I hear now, and will always hear for that character, no matter where we are in the story.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. I want to talk to you guys too about what you were maybe most excited to bring to life, or maybe there was something as you were doing this again, going, "Oh, I totally forgot that even happened." You know?
Oh boy.
Oh, without giving anything away.
No, that's the trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, relationships and everything is always my favorite part, you know, so getting to explore those moments was really fun. And getting to shock our audiences maybe with what we're willing to show is a lot of fun.
Anyone else have anything to add of anything that they were most excited about or excited for people to see? Again, I know there's so many spoiler moments all throughout this.
It's all good.
There's some really epic fights that are at a technical level just more impressive than we've ever been able to do on the show. Big beasts fighting in the snow is pretty cool. Um, and yeah, some of the stuff in Hell is unforgettable visually.
Mhm.
Can't wait for people to see that.
Yeah.
Some
that was
steamy
fantastic.
moments as well.
Yeah.
There's some very steamy moments.
Yeah, there are some very stupid moments. It's great. It's so good. The bathtub scene is fantastic. I'm just gonna say it's, it's so good. Like this whole show is just so good. Every single thing about it. It's like, can you talk about finding the balance of emotions? Because I feel like, I mean, there are times where I'm sobbing, trying to catch my breath, and then like something hilarious happens, and I'm like, well, I don't know what to do.
I mean, that's kind of the fun challenge is to kind of find that balance. And I mean, kind of the grateful that in the adaptation process we have so much material to look back on and pull from,
Mhm.
and all of us, you know, speaking for the moments we're passionate about most and seeing where they can fit together. It leads to a natural rhythm of, you know, climactic, epic confrontations and, you know, sweeping fantasy landscapes and intense, you know, battles and stakes, and then also finding those quiet moments of character interactions and emotion and loss and grief and catharsis. You know, it's kind of the wonderful symphony that comes together when all of us get in the room with the writers and we see how best we can make this. And so we're spoiled for riches in that regard.
And humor, you know, it's
Right.
human nature to want to break tension, I think. And so some of your most heartwarming moments and funniest moments can come at a funeral, you know, because you need that release.
We always have our intense games on Halloween, so whenever like something truly tragic in the live stream happens, we are all dressed like idiots every single time.
True.
I think gonna happen again. Sorry.
Oh no, it
Oh,
probably will.
Great, good, wonderful. It's something to look forward to, I guess. Oh man. And then I want to ask one more question. You talk about hell and all that was, I mean, visually incredible. Creatures, that whole episode is fantastic. And so like Matt, you like created this world out of your brain. So like how closely do you work with the animators in bringing this stuff to life? And like, what does it feel like when you see it? Like actually see it?
I mean, as closely as I can, you know, we have a number of art meetings with every single piece of art that goes through character designs, background layouts. You know, Sam and Travis helming the majority of the core of production from our perspective there. But I try and be in as many art meetings as possible. And when it came to developing Hell, I was very, very driven to be involved through the entirety of its design process in the early stages, because that's like it's everything I drew when I was a kid growing up, you know, like every monster and weird hellish landscape. And so yeah, it was all of us with the art team getting together, the animation director, our, you know, Arthur Loftus, the like all these wonderful artists bringing their ideas together and all of us together kind of cobbling this kind of communal vision out of the best of what we all had to bring to the table. And so it was like bringing a bunch of my old art books of some of my favorite artist renditions of hellish landscapes and taking inspiration from that architecture and from, you know, the facets of that kind of like, you know, like biological stone sort of, you know, some Giger inspirations, some Belzinski inspirations, all these different cool artistic facets. And then watching it all come together, I was just giddy as hell. No pun
I
intended.
love it. Yeah, oh, there you go. And then I'm gonna say, so I have the Percy statue from Sideshow. I want everyone. I was like, I can't get Vex without Vax because you just can't. And then eventually I will get everyone. But what does it mean to you guys that you have these like figures of these characters? Again, you guys have voiced many incredible. I mean, have great careers, but these are characters you created, and now people can have them in their houses.
Yeah, it's wild. You know, like some of our earliest memories of Comic-Con were going to the Sideshow booth and, you know, looking at those figures and going, they're so amazing. I wish we could have something like that in our house. Never going to be able to afford it. And now to have them, it's insane. And we went and toured the Sideshow offices and got to see them being made. It's just so beautiful.
Amazing.
What is
That's
life?
so cool.
Makes sense. I don't know.
Oh, what a dream. What a dream. Well, thank you guys so much. I loved this season. I love this show. I can't wait to go watch how this all played out in the campaign now. And I'm cry all over again and cry while I'm editing my reaction. It's going to be a whole thing. But I'm excited. And Sam, I'm so glad to see you're doing well. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I feel
of course.
great.